Greetings, Fire Chargers, Darkblade here, and I want to show you something. So open settings, my screen recorder widget disappeared, but the screen is still recording. So let's go to general because I want to show you all the keyboards that Samsung has, how versatile it is. I'll go to keyboard and input languages. And the preloaded languages are English, French, Albanian, Bulgarian, Chinese Hong Kong, Chinese Taiwan, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, Australian English, British English, Estonian, Finnish, German, Greek, Hungarian, Icelandic, Italian, Kazakh, Korean, Latvian, Lithuanian, Macedonian, Norwegian, Polish, Portuguese, both Brazilian and Portuguese versions, Romanian, Russian, Serbian, Silesian, Slovakian, Slovenian, Spanish, American Spanish, Swedish, and Ukrainian. I know there's a region called Upper Silesia, but I don't know where it is. Macedonian is the language of Macedonia, which, let me check my map, is between Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, Serbia, and Montenegro. Now, these are preloaded languages. I can turn them on, I can turn them off, but I can't delete them. The additional languages that you can download and also delete are Chinese, means of mainland China, Japanese, Arabic, Latin, Hebrew. So Arabic, Hebrew, Latin, Chinese, and Japanese are the available language, as is this Assamese. Never heard of that. Adyghe. I think it's the Adyghe region in Russia. Afar, I think that's Africa, but haven't really heard of this. Afrikaans, a language spoken in South Africa, descended from an older form of Dutch. Agil, never heard of this. Aja, never heard of this. Akan, think it's spoken around the Senegal region. Never heard of this one. Amharic, a Semitic language of Ethiopia. And Arabic variants in Algeria, Egypt, the Levant, Morocco, and Tunisia. Aragonese, that's a regional language in Spain. Neo-Assyrian Aramaic, Suret, Armenian and Armenian. Assamese, that's Assam, India. Assamese English, no idea what that means. Asturian, that's like in Asturias, Spain. Atong, never heard of this. Azio, or really Aymara, Azerbaijani, spoken in Azerbaijan. Balinese, that's Bali, Indonesia. Balochi, that's the Balochistan region of Pakistan. Bambara, never heard of this. Banjar, never heard of this, though I think it's either Indo-Aryan or one of the languages that has been heavily influenced by Sanskrit, because it uses the Indo-Aryan term Bahasa, which means language. Baule, never heard of that, or this Bariba. Bashkir, that's the language of Bashkortostan, I'm guessing. Basque, the Basque County in Spain. Bavarian, that's Bavaria in southeastern Germany. Belarusian, Belarus. Bengali, that's the West Bengal region of India, and also the country of Bangladesh. I don't know what Bengali English means. Bengkulu, never heard of it. Bhojpuri, I haven't really heard of this, but I think it's a language in India. Bicol Central, don't really know what this is. Bislama, never heard of it. Blackfoot, I think that's a language of Native Americans or Native Canadians. Make sure to that distinction. Bodo, never heard of this, though I'm guessing it's around the area of India because the script looks like Devanagari. Bosnian Herzegovina. Breton, that's a language that is one of the Celtic languages native to Britain. Never heard of this. There's Burmese written in Unicode and Zalgi. By the way, I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong. Berat, I think that's the Baratia region in Russia. Catalan, which is Catalonian northeast Spain. Cebuano, don't know what this is. Chamorro, haven't really heard of this. Chechen, that's the Chechnya region in Russia. Chichua, no, don't know what this is. Chuvash, I think that's the Chuvashia region in Russia. Coptic, a descendant of the ancient Egyptian language written in a modified Greek script that in this language lived on until like around the Middle Ages or sometime after, and actually continues as the liturgical language of the Coptic Orthodox and Coptic Catholic Church in Egypt. So it's really amazing how much the Egyptian language has managed to hang on. It's existed for like over 5,000 years and is still in use by people who more than just Egyptologists. Also members of the Christian clergy in Egypt. We are so that means you can see Egyptian Christians are keeping the Egyptian language alive. So it kind of went extinct as a spoken language of daily use some 100 years ago. So of course there has been evolution, and by the way, I don't consider a change in script to be linguistic evolution, but it's impressive. The Egyptian language is, for all intents and purposes, basically still here. Cornish, another language that is one of the indigenous Celtic languages of Britain. Corsican, that's Corsica, an island in France. I think it's either the one to the north or to the south. The other one is the Sicily, an island in Italy. There's the Dagare language in both Burkina Faso and Ghana. Those are countries in Africa. Never heard of Dagbali, Difehi, I think that's the language of the Maldives. There's also Difehi English. Dinka, don't know what that is. Dogri, I've heard of it. I don't know what it is. I think it might be in India because the script looks like Devanagari. Mostly the same thing with Dotiali, though I haven't heard of that one. Dungan, I'm not really sure what this is. The Belgian variety of Dutch, there's Dzongkha, the language of Bhutan. It's related to Tibetan. I think it's descended from Old Tibetan, and it's even written in a variant of the Tibetan writing system. Edo, no idea what that is. I think it's related to Africa. Canadian and Indian English. Esperanto, that's Conlang. Ewe, that's, I think, original language in Africa. Faroese, that's the Faroe Islands in Denmark. Farsi, also known as Persian, is the language of Iran. Now, Persian's another old one. It's hung around for like 2,600 years since before the time of the Achaemenid Empire, though it has gone through various changes and script changes and influence from, what is it called, Arabic and other languages. Fijian, I think that's Fiji. I wonder if they also have Fiji Hindi. Pongbei, haven't heard of that. Then there's French varieties in Belgium, Canada, and Switzerland. Yes, you're still recording. Frisian, that's a Germanic language spoken around the Netherlands. I think it's one of the most closely related languages to English. Fluent, haven't heard of that. Don't know what Fulani is. Never heard of Gaz. Gagauz. Galician is a language in Spain. Haven't heard of Gallo or Garifuna or Gallo. Georgian is a language in Georgia, the Caucasus regions of Asia. It's around the same region as where Armenia and Azerbaijan are. Swiss German. Ikali, don't know what that is. Gorontalo, haven't heard of that. Greenlandic, that's a native language of Greenland, I'm guessing. Grico, don't know what that is. Guarani, that's an indigenous language of Paraguay, country in South America. There's Gujarati, that's the Gujarat region of India, and of course Gujarati English, because why not? Haitian Creole, I think that's a French-based Creole spoken in the country of Haiti. Hani, don't know what that is. Hausa, that's one of the three major big languages of the African nation of Nigeria. The other two are Igbo and Yoruba. Hawaiian, that's the language of Hawaii. Hiligaynon, don't know what that is. Hindi, that's the language of India. Well, it's a language in the northern part of India, though it is an official language of all of India. Southern India notably speaks various Dravidian languages that aren't related to the Indo-Aryan North. English, I'm assuming that's like some pidgin of Hindi and English. Hmong, I have heard of it, but don't know what it is in China. Hmong Dao, don't know what that is. Huso, don't know what that is. Igbo, have heard of it, know a little about what it is, but don't know it at all. Ilocano, don't know what that is. Indonesian, that's the language of Indonesia. Ingush, I think that's the Ingushetia region in Russia. And let me see if I can read a Cyrillic. Gyalgamot. No idea if that's right. There's this language, Inuinnaqtun, no idea what that is. Inuktitut, that's the language of the Inuit people of the northeastern frontiers of North America. By the way, leave a comment if you know any of these languages. And there's Swiss Italian, along with Irish. Yumin, no idea what that is. Jamaican Creole. There's Javanese of Java Island in Indonesia. Don't know what this is. Haven't heard of this or this. Don't really know what that is. But I'm guessing it might have to do with Central America. Don't know what this is. Or Kabyle or Kabyle. Kalmyk, I think that might have something to do with the Kalmykia region in Russia. Kannada, that's spoken in India. Kannada English, don't know why all of these English in parentheses are. Kapampangan, haven't heard of it. Karakalpak, haven't heard of it. Karen, I have somewhat heard of it, but don't know anything about what it is. Kashmiri, Kashmir region in India. It uses Devanagari looking script, in the Kashmir region in Pakistan uses this, what is it called? The Perso-Arabic script. Kashubian, never heard of it. Kawi, I think that's spoken in, what is it? Oh yeah, Indochina, the mainland Southeast Asia. Kazakh, using the Roman script. I think Kazakh was also available up here in the Cyrillic script. So basically, throughout their history, the languages of Central Asia have used 3 different scripts. There was, throughout their recent history at least, there was the Perso-Arabic script, the Roman script, and the Cyrillic script. By the way, all of the major languages of Central Asia are Turkic languages except for Tajik, which is a dialect of Persian. There's Kenzi, never heard of that. Kandeshi, never heard of that. Or Kasi. Khmer is a language Cambodia. It's quite old, goes back at least 800 years. Khoi Khoi, never heard of that. Congo, I think that might be Congolese, because there are many languages in Africa that start with this ki sound. Swahili is Kiswahili. the language of Burundi is Kirundi, and the language of Rwanda is Kinyarwanda. So I think this might be like some, Congolese language. Kikuyu, no idea what that is. Kinyarwanda is the language of Rwanda. Taitai ni Kiribati, I think that might be the language of Kiribati, also known as Gilbertese. Kirundi, the language of Burundi. Kituba, no idea what that is. Konkani, no idea what that is. And apparently there's one Devanagari looking script and one more Burmese looking script. Never heard of Kumyk, Kurdish, written in both Kurmanji Roman and the Sorani Perso-Arabic script. Kurpian, never heard of it. Kyrgyz, that's the language of Kyrgyzstan. Lak, never heard of it. Lao, that's the language of Laos, looks similar. The script is reminiscent of Thai and a bunch of other scripts used in mainland Southeast Asia, and in fact Lao is related to Thai. Latgalian, no idea what that is. Lesgian, Lingurian, never heard of that. Limburgish, no idea what that is. Or Lingala. Lingua Franca Nova. I think it's supposed to be like this new common language based on Latin. But I don't know what it is. Lisu, no idea what that is, nor have I ever heard of it. Lombard, I think it's this old Germanic language spoken in parts of Italy. Plattdeutsch, that's Low German, a language spoken in northern Germany. Lower Sorbian, don't know what any Sorbian is. Luganda, don't really know what that is. Luo, I don't know what that is, though I think Barack Obama's father is a member of the Luo people, or is it Luo? It says so on the wiki page talking about the ethnic makeup of the US presidents. Luxembourgish, the language of Luxembourg, I don't know anything about it. Majorese, never heard of it. Or Maitili, or Makasaris, or this one, Makuamimito, Malakasi, that's the region. Madagascar, Malay, written both Roman and Perso-Arabic and Arabic script. In Malaysia, Malayalam, that's in India, and of course there's the Malayalam English, because why not? Maltese, that's the language of Malta. I think it's a descendant of Arabic. Mam, never heard of it. Apparently there's a Mando Malay, never heard of it. Mandinka, don't know what that is. There's this language called Manipuri. I know there's an Indian region called the Manipur. I think that might be related, but I have no idea what the Manipur language is. Manx, one of the Celtic languages spoken around, native to Britain. Maori, an indigenous language of New Zealand. Never heard of it. Marathi, I have heard of it. It's spoken in India, but I don't know anything about it. And of course Marathi English, because why not? Mari is an ancient language spoken in the ancient Near East around the time of Hammurabi. Just kidding, that's obviously long extinct, and this is a completely unrelated language, which I know nothing about. Marshallese, that's the Marshall Islands. Marwari, know nothing about it. Masurian, never heard of it. Mauritian Creole, never heard of it, though I do know where Mauritius is. It's one of those island nations in Africa. The Seychelles are also another example, as are the Comoros and Cape Verde. Never heard of Mergelian before, or Mi'kmaq, or Minkabu, or Mirandese, or Mosquito. Mizo, I think that might have something to do with the Mizoram area in India, and of course Mongolian in both the Cyrillic and Native Mongolian script. though this appears to be a horizontal version of it, because the native Mongolian script is by default vertical, but that's hard to type and support. Mosi, never heard of it, or Mundari, or Ko. Nahuatl, that's the Aztec language native to Mexico and Central America. Naro, never heard of it. Nauru, I know of a nation called Nauru in Oceania, but I don't know if they're related. Neapolitan, that's the language of Naples in Italy. Langfocus recently did a video on this. Nepali, that is the language of Nepal. And there's also a Nepali English, because there just is. Nuwari, that's a Sino-Tibetan language, meaning it's related to languages like Burmese, Chinese, Tibetan, Dzongkha. It's also the old administrative language of Nepal in like the 18th century. It's spoken in the Nepal. One of its languages names is Nepal Bhasha or something. Yes, never heard of this. Norman, that's a very old language related to French, I think. Northern Sami, I think that's a language of the Sami people in the area of Norway and Sweden. Northern Sotho, I think that might be related to the African nation of Lesotho, but I'm not certain. And of course, Norwegian, Nynorsk, because there are two ways to write Norwegian. Let me actually scroll back up and see if Bokmal was one of the preloaded ones. I think this was Bokmal. So apparently I can't have 4 languages turned on at the same time, which means if I want to turn another one on, I need to turn one off. This is Nubian Dongolawi. I don't know anything about the Nubian language, though this script looks similar to Coptic. Nosu, no, I don't know anything about that. Or Oldham Occitan, that's a language in French. In France. Odia, that's one of the languages spoken in India. And there's also an English tag. Olchiki, no idea what that is. Oria, that's another name for the Odia language. I think this is its native script. Oromo, I think that's an African language. Ossetic, and Digar and Iran. I think that's the language of like South Ossetia in Georgia and North Ossetia Athonsa in Russia. Paite, never heard of it. Palau is a nation in Oceania. Palinkero, never heard of this. Or this one called Angasinan, never heard of. Papiamento in Aruba or Curacao. Wait, both Aruba and Curacao are dependencies of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Pashto, that's one of the languages spoken in Afghanistan. Farsi, which is Persian, apparently this is Roman script Persian. Piedmontese, that's one of the regional languages in India. Punjabi, which is written in the Devanagari-like script in India, and the Perso-Arabic script in Punjab, Pakistan, and there's also a Punjab English. I don't know why. Quechua, don't know what that is. Rapa Nui, I know there's a filler character in One Piece with that name, but I don't know what this language is. Rusin, that's a Slavic language related to Ukrainian and Russian, but not to be confused with either one. It's called Usinsky, not Ruski. Yazik. Utul, never heard of this. Samoan, I don't really know what it is. Samogitian, never heard of it. Sango, don't know what that is. Sanskrit is this very old this very old Indo-Aryan language that is very important to Indic scholarship. If you want to study ancient India or just anything related to pre-modern India, you should learn Sanskrit. And fun fact, Google Translate relatively recently added Sanskrit. There's Santali, which I have never heard of. Sarmakan, and by the way, many of the modern Indo-Aryan languages spoken in India, Nepal, and in other parts of the world, are descended from Sanskrit. Sardinian, that's the language of Sardinia in Italy. Sassarese, never heard of it. Scots is a language in Scotland that is very similar to English from what I hear. Scottish Gaelic, that is a Celtic language also spoken in Scotland. Serbian, that is the language of Serbia. It's a very closely related and similar to Croatian, which is written in the Roman script. Sesotho, I think that might have something to do with the Lesotho nation in southern Africa. The Seychelles Creole, Seychellois Creole, is I think it's a French-based Creole spoken in the Seychelles because the last three letters are OIS. It's spelling the wa sound in this very French-like way. Shan, never heard of it. Sheena, never heard of it. Shona, never heard of it except for in Google Translate. Shochni, never heard of it. Sicilian, that's Sicily in Italy. Sindhi, don't know what that is, but there is a Sindh region in Pakistan. And there's also the Arabic script. There's Sinhala, I think that's spoken in a southern part of India or Sri Lanka, in both this script and in English. Somali and Somalia. Songhai, I think that's related to the Songhai Empire in medieval Africa. Isian Ndebele, I think that's related to Africa because you see this Isi in other African language like Isi Khosa, which is Isi Xosa. Then there's Latin American Spanish and Mexican Spanish. Sundanese, that's the Sunda island of Indonesia. Swahili, Swazi of Eswatini, Swaziland. Swiss German, didn't we already see this? Sitheli, don't know what that is, though I think it might have something to do with India. Aramaic, though this is Syriac Aramaic, not to be confused with the Neo-Assyrian Aramaic. Sureth, though they're both Aramaic, and looks like from here that they're both written in the Syriac Aramaic alphabet script. Let me see the other Aramaic. So this is Sureth Aramaic, also known as Neo-Assyrian Aramaic. And this is Syriac Aramaic. There's Tabasaran, no idea what that is. Tagalog, Filipino. Tainua, no idea what that is. Tajik and Tajikistan, that's related to Persian. Tamazight, I think that might have something to do with the Amazigh people who are indigenous to North Africa. The Berbers, Amazighs. They lived in places like Libya, Algeria, Tunisia. Then there's Tamil. Tamil Nadu is a region in South India. And Tamil English, because why not Tatar, Tatarstan, Russia. Telugu, Telangana is in South India. And Telugu English, because you shouldn't be surprised anymore. Tetum, I don't know why that is. Thai, the language of Thailand. Tibetan is the language of the Tibetan people. Tigrinya, that's one of the three major South Semitic languages spoken in Ethiopia. It's related to Ge'ez and Amharic. Tokpisin, I think that's a language spoken in Papua New Guinea. Then again, I know literally nothing about this. Tokipona, that's a very simplistic conlang created like 10 years ago by this female linguist named Sonia Lang. It only has a little over 100 words. Tongan, I think that has something to do with the Tonga nation in Oceania. Takor, never heard of that. Tonga, never heard of that. Tswana, I think that might have something to do with the Botswana nation of Africa. Tulu, never heard of this. Turkish, I have, which is of course the language of Turkey. Turkmen, the language of Turkmenistan. Turoyo is this language that I've never heard of, though it looks like Aramaic. It's displayed here with the Syriac Aramaic script alphabet. Tuvan, that's Tuva in Russia. Udmurt, that's the Udmurt Republic, is part of Russia. Upper Sorbian, I still don't know what any Sorbian is. Urdu, that is the official language of Pakistan, and Urdu English, because why not? Uyghur is a Turkic language spoken by the Uyghur people in the Xinjiang Autonomous Region of northwestern China. Uzbek is another Turkic language spoken in Uzbekistan. Venda, never heard of this. Venetian, I think it's a language of Venice, Italy. Vietnamese, that's the language of Vietnam. Voro, never heard of it. Wahi, never heard of it. Walloon, that is a language of, that's one of the two languages of Belgium. That's a language spoken in like half of Belgium. There's Flemish, and there's in Flanders, and Walloon, and Wallonia. So apparently it isn't just as simple as French, Dutch, and German. Wadai, never heard of that. Or Walpuri. Cymraeg is Welsh. That's a Celtic language spoken in Wales. That's the southeastern part of the British island. Southwestern part of the British island, west of England. Wolof, that's part of that's spoken in Africa. There's Wimisoris, spoken, I don't know. Isihosa, that's the language spoken in the Black Panther movie by the Wakandan characters. Yakut, I think that's a regional language in Russia. Yiddish, that is a language invented about 1,000 years ago by Ashkenazi Jews. It's a Germanic, I think it's a Central Germanic language that is written using the Hebrew alphabet. Yoruba, that's one of those three major languages in Nigeria, the other two being Hausa and Igbo. Yucatec Maya, I'm guessing that's the language of the Mayan people around the area of Yucatan in Mexico. Zazaki, never heard of that. Zulu, is a language in Africa. Apparently it's this language that Circle of Life song is written in. And so far this video is 35 minutes long. Should I also go see through Apple to compare it? You know what? I'll see if I can justify that. So Apple offers a whole lot less keyboards. There's English US, Japanese, English Japan, Chinese simplified. There's also the emoji keyboard. There's the Ainu language, which I don't think Samsung had, and katakana, because if you're wondering, Ainu is a language spoken in Hokkaido. It used to also be spoken in regions like the easternmost fringes of Russia, like Sakhalin, but all Russian dialects of Ainu went extinct, and now it only exists in Japan. There's Albanian, Amharic, Apache, Western, Arabic Najdi, Armenian, Assamese, Assyrian, Syriac, and I think that's just another way of saying Aramaic, Azerbaijani, Bangla, the language of Bangladesh, Belarusian, Bodo. I don't think that, what is it called? The Samsung had that. Bulgarian, Burmese Unicode, Cantonese traditional. I think that's what Samsung meant by Chinese Hong Kong. Choctaw, that's a language in one of the Native American languages. Croatian, Czech, Danish, Divehi, Dogri, and Devanagari, Dutch in Belgium and the Netherlands, Dzongkha, the language of Bhutan, English in Canada, Australia, India, New Zealand, Singapore, South Africa, the UK, Estonian, Faroese, Filipino, Finnish, French in Belgium, Canada, France, Switzerland, Fula, I think that's an African language. I don't know if the Samsung had that. Georgian, German in Austria, Germany in Switzerland. Gujarati, Hawaiian, Hebrew, Hindi, Indian, Latin script, Roman script. Hungarian, I don't remember if the Samsung had Hungarian on it. Iceland, Igbo, Indonesian, Irish, Italian, Kannada, and both Devanagari and another unspecified script, Kashmiri and Nask, Kazakh, Khmer, Konkani, Korean, Kurdish, and Latin in Sorani, Kyrgyz, Lao, Latvian, Lithuanian, Macedonian, Maithili, Malay, Malay Arabic, which is Jawi, Malayalam, Maltese, that's the language of Manipuri in unspecified script, and also in Meitei Mayek, Maori, Marathi, Mongolian, Navajo, that's a language spoken by Native Americans in my home state of Arizona, as Apache, Norwegian Bokmal, and Norse. There's also Nepali, Odia, Pashto, Persian, Afghan Persian, that's Dari, Polish. I don't remember if the Samsung had Polish. There's Portuguese in Brazil and Portugal. Punjabi, Rohingya, and Hanafi script. I don't remember if the Samsung had Rohingya. They think that's a language in Myanmar. Apparently, the Rohingyas historically went through some terrible things like genocide or something. In Romania, Russian, Samoan, Sanskrit, Santali and Devanagari and Olchiki, Serbian and Serbian Latin. I think that's basically Romanized. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that much different from Croatian. Sindhi and Devanagari, Sinhala, Slovak, Slovenian, Spanish, Latin America, Spanish Mexico, Spanish Spain, Swahili, Swedish, Ajik, Tamil, Telugu, Thai, Tibetan, Tongan, Turkish, Turkmen, Ukrainian, Urdu, Uyghur, Uzbek, Uzbek Arabic, Uzbek Cyrillic. So I think just the Uzbek is Uzbek in Roman script, Vietnamese, Welsh, Yiddish, and there's also English US, Japanese, Romaji, Hebrew, Greek, Chinese simplified, and Arabic. So that's all for this video. Goodbye, Fire Chargers, Dark Blade out. Make sure to like and subscribe.